Welcome to WO50, Women Over 50 in Body Wisdom and Wellness.
Hello, my name is Corinne, and I'm here with my friend of many, many years, Eddie. Today we're calling her Dr. Eddie because our topic today is Accelerators of Aging, discussing the major agers. And we did discuss all of them because at the end, if you listen to the very end, Eddie will list all of the major agers. And there's not 3, there's not 5, there's not 10, there's a bunch.
There's a bunch. There's lots. And I'm sure everybody's got 1 or 2 or 3 that they can pick out and start working on and start changing. We gave some ideas around what to do. We talked about supplements and dabbled into herbs a little bit. So, we just really wanted to talk about what the major agers were.
Because we're interested in your quality of life. I'm interested in my quality of life. Eddie's interested in her vitality and her quality of life. And all that has to do with what you put in your body, what you put in your head, all of that. And there's some things that you can do to be more proactive and some things you can do to stop doing to be more proactive. So you can figure out what's best for you. So lots of really good stuff in here, Ed.
Yeah, we listed all the contributors of the stuff that wears and tears our body.
I like what you said. You emailed me on this topic. You said we're all rusting.
We're all rusting. Yeah, we talked about that.
We're all shrinking. Didn't you say we're all shrinking?
We're shrinking and rusting, and
right.
We just want to slow
news.
that down. It is. It's great. Yeah, we knew that was going to happen.
It's natural. It's the natural process. Okay. Love ya.
We're changing the narrative. Love you.
Hello, BFF.
Hi. Long time no see.
Oh my gosh. So our topic today just happens to be major agers, right? And a friend of ours' mother passed away yesterday. And so she had called me this morning. So I was sharing it with Eddie. And, it is significant when a parent dies. We talk about it off and on, but and so everybody has to go through their own process with if they have people in their family, whether it's parents or whoever passing away, and sitting with how your personal feelings are with it. But, and then yet ultimately, there's no but in there. So yet that's ultimately aging. It's like, it is the most natural process that exists. Aging and death is just as natural as birth. And some people would say just as beautiful. Like that's what Alea had shared on her when she was talking about her dad passing. She said as he was passing, as his skin was and the blood was draining from his face, she found that process really beautiful.
Yeah. And because it is beautiful and it's a celebration of life, whether we're coming in or leaving this planet, there's a lot to celebrate. And, especially if we've been gifted years to live, right? It's a privilege to age. And so many people fight it. And, I always say I'm pro-aging, and there is going to be wear and tear on the body. It's like anything. It's like you live in 100 or 200-year-old house. You don't just not do anything to it, right? Like you have to repair a wall, or you have to repair the floor or the roof or the doors or the windows. Like the body's the same. And, I was doing a lot of workshops this week. And so there's lots of stuff still fresh in my head. And I love this doc. He said, if we address dysfunction in the body before it became dis-ease, that would be amazing, because the vast majority of people do not even know, to do that. They just go, I have a symptom. I got to go to the doc, whether it's blood pressure or blood sugar. But if we get to the root cause of something, then we're addressing the dysfunction. So if we're lightheaded or our blood sugar's down, or, something's happening in the cells, we know that the damage the aging damage happens within the mitochondria of the cell. That's the guts of the cell. And we know we have a microbiome, and there's so many biomes in the body. Even the viruses, there's now a new term for viral overload in the body, and it's called virome. Virome. So now we have the virome community, which is a community of viruses. We have a microbiome, which is a community of organisms, bacteria, yeast, fungus, all kinds of things. And so in our bodies, just like a house, we're going to get normal wear and tear, and every symptom is a sign. It's like what's not functioning properly. And as we get older, if we can address them sooner than later, great. But a lot of times, we kind of ignore it. We work out too hard. We have high performance injuries, right? Or we have
headaches for years,
gut issues for years,
living on
pills to
Tums.
take. Yeah, Tums for upset stomach or GERDs. And then we come to find out, oh, we can do other things about that. We can actually change our lifestyle a little bit. And that's not always the total answer, but it's amazing if we can start there and recognize that what's going on in the body is inflammatory. It's lots of inflammation, right? We talked about it, the itises, sinusitis, bronchitis, arthritis, fasciitis, all the itises. Well, that's aging. That's the new terminology now, inflammaging. So it's inflammation, aging. So do you think that's accelerating aging, inflammation?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because there's a biological age and a chronological age. Can you talk about the difference?
Well, your biological age is how your body's presenting as. You could be, 60 years old and have the body of a 30-year-old or the body of a 90-year-old. So
and even
there's
at the cellular level, that's what I wanted to. So there's the chronological age, which is your actual physical age on this planet that you've been on the years, and then your biological, your age is the state of your cells. So they can be older or younger than your actual chronological age.
And we're way advanced now in science. We have methods of testing now for actual aging. We have epigenetics, we have genetic testings, we have, saliva testings, there's heart rate variability testings. Like there's all kinds of integrative health centers that have some of these measures to test, blood tests, like checking your cholesterol and your insulin and your fasting blood sugar. And we have this list of blood work that can be done. That's amazing for showing the aging of the cells. Because some people, they always say, oh, you're a young 50 or you're a young 60 or what does that really mean? I want to know, how are my cells aging? How are they doing in there? What do they need more of? And they need nutrients. They need food. We need to eat. Like people go, well, how can I slow down the aging process? Very first thing you need to do is eat food. Eat more plant food than animal protein. Eat more plant protein. Get more vegetables in. Get more fiber. Like fiber is really important because it just it's like giving your organism something to chew on. It slows down the degenerative process of the gut, especially. So there's so many things, right? So many.
And not packaged foods, right? So it's like it's doing the best you can. It's going shopping in the grocery store around the exterior, which is where most of the produce and fresh things are, and less, packaged things that come in a package. Yeah.
Yeah. I always say to my patients, know what you're eating. Like if you can't read what the package says, well, your body doesn't know what to do with it either. And we accumulate these toxins. We have to intentionally do cleanses and clearings. And, some people like to fast for maybe 12 hours or maybe a day. Like just see what works for you, because there's lots of things we can do to kind of give our body some help, especially if we go, I'm getting sick and I have these symptoms and my medication list is going up. Like that's the first sign. This doesn't mean you're good. If you're
Mm-hmm.
taking medication, we got to do some things to offset. Maybe we don't need more medication. Maybe that's enough. But we take one med, next thing you know, there's another one and another one and another one.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's the
sometimes we
way
got
it
to take a
goes.
look, right?
Yeah.
A
Yeah.
big look.
Yeah. They say it's average, which I was very stunned at the statistic that's it's average for like after over 50 for a human to be on at least 4 medications, pharmaceutical meds. And I
Yeah.
was like, whoa,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
And what are most of them? Like most of them I see it's reflux medication or it's a blood pressure
Yeah.
medication or, it's something for, gut IBS,
Yeah.
anxiety.
Cholesterol.
Um, yeah, there's a
Yeah.
lot of like where is the body wearing out? What's it? There's an old Chinese saying this doc mentioned the other day. I'd never heard it before, and it's something called Ling Chi, and it's death by 1,000 cuts. That's what
Mm.
it means.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard that
Beautiful.
saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
Ling
Yeah.
Chi.
Mm-hmm.
And it talks about, just how every injury, every illness, every
Mm-hmm.
medication is like a little cut.
Mm-hmm.
So the more we can do to heal and start repairing as we go along, not just band-aid or forget about it, I'll deal with it later. Our
Mm-hmm.
body is amazing. It gives us symptoms to go, what's going on? Your
Mm-hmm.
feet are hurting. Well, are you playing too much sports? Do you want to
Mm-hmm.
slow down? What about your sleep? Are you sleeping?
Mm-hmm.
Are your bowels moving?
Mm-hmm.
Are you drinking water? Number one aging accelerator is stress.
Mm-hmm.
Because what does it do? Cortisol goes
Mm-hmm.
flying through the roof. And then what happens? Body starts to panic. So then what's needed? Inflammation starts increasing. What's needed? Well, we need a little cholesterol to help with these other hormones because cholesterol helps. It's a precursor to our other hormones, telling them what to do and how to help out the body. But sure, so many people are on medication for lowering cholesterol, and we don't know enough about that one. We need
Mm-hmm.
to learn more. Learn
Mm-hmm.
more about what our hormones do, what
Mm-hmm.
food does in your body. What are you missing? Like, what? Take inventory of what you eat and then go, okay, what am I missing? Do I get enough sunshine? Well, in the winter, no. So I need some vitamin D. We know we need vitamin K. We know we need magnesium. Most people are deficient in magnesium. So, deficiency of nutrients, if we don't supplement, we age faster as well. So, supplements can help substitute what we're not getting in our diet, right?
Mm-hmm.
I like to take things that are feeding my cells, micronutrients. I like to eat good food. How about you?
Yeah, I mean, you know me, that's why I have a garden. I mean, I'm kind of addicted to my organic garden right now. And I even am trying to do a fall garden now. Probably this is the second year I've done it. Not, just not a ton of things, but
Yeah.
because I want some fresh garden food. So
Yeah.
yeah, because I feel like the body is such an amazing, like I'm rewatching Northern Exposure was one of my favorites. Did you ever watch that? From
Yes, I
like
loved it.
the 80s or something like that. It was one of my
Yeah.
favorite series, and it's on Netflix now. You can watch it on Netflix. And he was a doctor that went, graduated in New York, went to this high school, the state of Alaska bought his medical debt, and so he was beholden to and had to go to this, place in Sicily, Alaska, in the middle of nowhere, this New York doctor and practice. And he meets with this medicine man, this Indian man, and the medicine man, this shaman, needs his help, but is kind of checking him out. So he has to go over for dinner. The guy won't come in the office. And so he goes over for dinner and so the Indian's kind of checking him out. And he's like, so, what do you feel, Dr. Fleshman? And he goes, well, he said, I really believe that the human body is an incredible balancing and regenerative organism. And when it's given the opportunity, it will balance out and heal itself.
Mm-hmm.
So after he stated that, the shaman was like, okay, this guy's pretty cool. And so that's what I have always believed. And sometimes I'm too far. I will not go to the doctor because I'm like, I can fix this myself with more exercise or more water or sleeping more, and that is usually the case.
Mm-hmm.
Doctors are great really for, and hospitals are great for ruling out things more than anything else. I feel anyway.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I find a lot of them are more and more looking at lifestyle, like they're
Yeah.
integrating
Mm-hmm.
more and more and more because we have to,
Yeah. Yeah.
we're, you know, every cell in our body has to replace itself. Like with
Mm-hmm.
every injury we get, it's amazing. Like if you cut yourself, I said this to my grandkids the other day, they scraped their hand and it was bleeding. And I'm like, look at it. Look, you can almost see the magic. It's like it's knitting back together. And they're like, no, it's not. I was like, yes, it is. Look at it. And then they're looking and going, I'm like, watch by tomorrow. And then the next day, like you'll barely even notice you injured it. But let's do something. Let's make sure you're, eating your orange. That'll help heal it. And let's put some, cream on it and that'll help it. And so this is what we do, right? We help it along. We help our body. We don't ignore it. If
Yeah.
body's giving you pain, it's telling you something. It's like, stop.
Yeah. It's kind of like ignoring the plumbing in an old house or a clank in your car in an old car. I mean, even a new
Mhm.
car. Say,
Yep.
because you had one car that was a lemon. One year
Yeah.
you bought a brand new car and it
Yes.
kept giving you problems. And if you didn't pay attention to it, it would be broken down in the middle of the
Mhm.
road somewhere. And same
That's
with
right.
your roof if it's leaking. So we actually do take better care of our cars and our houses a lot of times than we do our own bodies.
Yeah, a lot of times we do, and the body is actually, wear and tear is they're rusting. They're getting older. So this is why, we got to tend to them, tend to the at a cellular level. It's not just what topically we put on. I mean, there's on it to heal it. Like we got to go intracellular to fix some things in there. The
Mm-hmm.
body knows how to do it up to a certain point, but then usually after 50, we got to help it along. Things happen
Mm-hmm.
there. We don't even know. So many things
Mm-hmm.
happen unexpectedly. Like
Mm-hmm.
I have friends who've had heart attacks and breaks and falls
Mm-hmm.
and concussions and they have to tend to those things. The
Mm-hmm.
body needs rest. It needs, the brain's neuroplastic. It needs the neurons need to be fed again. The brain needs fat. We need good fat, not
Mm-hmm.
garbage fat.
Mm-hmm.
These oils, you speak to people who specialize in nutrition and I do that, but that's why I can, when I'm in my wheelhouse, like it's like and then when you're in your wheelhouse, it's like we light up. But I just think, we can slow down the aging process just by getting the right stuff in, supplement if we need to. Most people have to supplement. Our food has changed dramatically, and everyone doesn't garden like we do right now, right?
Yeah, I mean that's kind of what I wanted to focus on today. Why I love the title you came up with, which was "Accelerators of Aging," discussing the major agers, because there's so much anti-aging out there, and there's so
Mm-hmm.
much talk about what can slow down the aging process. I
Yeah.
feel like that's oversaturated. I want to hear about what speeds up. I feel like that's a really good point today. And what you talked about, what processed foods will speed it up, not listening to the body,
Mm-hmm.
headaches and
Stress.
yeah, stress, the big one you talked about.
Big one.
And
And a lot of people, there was a cardiologist speaking and I listened to him big time. And he measures heart rate variability. And he said stress is not measured by the actual heartbeat. It's measured by the measurement between. It's the variability of one beat to the next. And people that don't think they're stressed, a lot of them carry that a frequency. So however
well,
they measure it, it's unbelievable.
Well,
Like
I
I don't know
actually
how
know
he
a lot
does it.
about, well, no, actually, I
Okay.
do know a lot about heart rate variability because that's what Colleen
Beautiful.
does.
Yay.
And
Okay.
it's
So
what
that's
the
right.
reason
That's
why
right.
is because of the yoga. So
Yep.
basically, the only way, what that doctor was saying is the only way, like they know a lot about the sympathetic nervous system, the stress
And the
response,
parasympathetic.
heart. No, 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 they don't. They know a lot about the sympathetic nervous system. So you have your autonomic nervous system, which is your parasympathetic, which is your rest, digest, calming. And then you have your sympathetic, which is your fight, flight. They know a lot and they've studied a lot on the sympathetic because that heart attacks, that's like it's tension behind the back of the heart because that's where a lot of the sympathetic nerves are, and it causes the heart issue. So they've studied that a lot. They have not studied at all the healing response in your body, which is the parasympathetic, which is what Eddie's talking about. And the only way they that is known to test the parasympathetic is heart rate variability. And what that means, hold your thought, what that means is that there's a response. So every organ and muscle in your body, almost everyone, 95%, has both sympathetic and parasympathetic. So it has both nervous systems going that are attached to them, right? So because you need excitement and relaxation, right? You need both. You think about for exercise or sex, you have both, both. And so what has happened is we've lived so much in the sympathetic, in the excited state, that we're not very good at the rest response. So people are always in the sympathetic. So the more variable the heart rate means that when you go and you activate the sympathetic, you're able to have the parasympathetic response and go back to it. That's what it's talking about. You're able to go back and forth. That's what we did when we did the exercise thing, the bike that time too. And so a lot of people are not very good at calming down. And I see it in the awareness yoga all the time. People have had a really stressful week. And even though we're laying on the floor for a 2-hour yoga class, it'll take them an hour to calm down.
Yeah. And it was beautiful to hear him speak. He's a medical doctor, saying that we have to make room for meditation and yoga and make sure it's being practiced, that we take the time to actually stop, because just because you're stopping and your heart rate's going down doesn't mean you're not stressed anymore. You got to do these things to tap into
and it's
all the other systems, into the muscles, into the heart, into the tendons, into the cells. He said there's so much going on in a relaxation period in the body that when we start measuring the things that are aging, it's mind-blowing that stress, like how so many people don't even think they're stressed. No, I'm retired. Now I'm not stressed. Yet they're still on the hamster wheel.
Well, they're still on hypertension, like high blood pressure, and their mind is still. When people say they can't sit to meditate, that is a sign that they're in sympathetic, and they probably have high blood pressure. Not for sure, but they, and that they're in that sympathetic state too often. It's a silent killer, very similar to heart disease and diabetes, because there are these things that we have symptoms for, but there are killers like stress that we may not have as many symptoms for.
That's right. And stress is the number one. And then food, really bad processed food, especially high in sugar and processed sugars, artificial sweeteners. Those were the top ones. And if we can just, they said, if you want to die sooner than later or get sick sooner than later, spike your insulin. Just let it fly through the roof, because the damage that goes on in the body from, diabetes, insulin resistant, metabolic syndrome, disfunction, gut dysbiosis, which is irritable bowel and irritable bowel diseases, GERDs, these types of things. Once we start kind of clearing the body, getting some of the toxins out, like we're putting so much in. There was another doc said, if you can't eat it, you shouldn't be putting it on your skin.
Yeah.
Because everything's going in, right?
You've always said that. You've always said that.
Absolutely. Like when we put creams on, like I love, going, okay, we got coconut oil and we got the different creams that we're putting on. Like years ago, we didn't know what was in half of what we were putting on our body. So we still have to clear this stuff out. So every day, just the body needs a rest too, rest and digest. People fight throwing up or a fever, they think that's a terrible thing. It's not. It's the body's way of getting rid of some stuff,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Body's burning
Absolutely.
some stuff off. We got to, it's the same when I was an oncology nurse and someone would get a fever. It's okay. Let it run for a little bit because we're burning off some stuff here. But
Mhm.
when it gets uncomfortable, then we start bringing it down. Same with the kids. We don't want it too high. But
Mhm.
most people, if you get the cold or flu, you can run a fever for a little
Absolutely.
bit. Like,
Sweat it out.
we're popping over the counter medications for so many things and it's not necessary. We can go
Mhm.
to herbal medicine and beautiful teas and you know we just have to research it. And then we also have to
Mhm.
know and be guided with some of it. We can't do kitchen table wisdom if you don't know kitchen table wisdom.
Mhm.
Stuff's been passed on from grandparents. Put a little bit of honey now in your hot water and drink it. That'll help your throat. Okay, that's good. That's
Mhm.
some good advice. That might help the cough, but we're so reactive, right? We're very reactive with stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, yeah,
And
toxins. What else?
so, well, there's insufficient sleep is another one. And I feel like that
Hmm.
goes hand in hand because I feel like one of the reasons why there's so many people that have problems sleeping is because they are sympathetic and they're having a hard time calming down. So at night, their mind starts racing. That's the number one thing I hear with people.
Yes.
So, like I've got several of my longtime students that will do their legs up like we do in the yoga, and that helps them calm down at night because it puts their body into parasympathetic because their spine is flat on the floor, and
Hmm.
um, and so yeah, so insufficient sleep is another big, and that causes the stress. So a lot of these things come under the umbrella of stress. That's why stress is the number one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And sometimes too, people, you hear talking about magnesium a lot. There's so many forms of magnesium. You just got to
Mm-hmm.
know the right one to take.
Mm-hmm.
And we could do a whole podcast on magnesium. There's
Or just
so many
listen to the
types.
Huberman. Listen
Yeah.
to Huberman, and you can hear about magnesium 3 and 8, and like what's that other one you say? The isolate or
Glycinate.
glycinate? Yeah. Hmm.
And there's bisglycinate, there's citrate, there's malate, there's, all kinds. Oxide, which is
So how do people know what to take?
they have to research it. They got to research it because
What if they're not good
the
at
best.
researching
Well, the best one to take, magnesium L3 and 8 is one of the best for brain and for calming.
and calming your
And
sleep?
yeah, and that with, some people take GABA, they take a little bit of maca root, different things like that. I mean, there's things in your cupboard that are amazing, like that are
Hmm.
healing, that help cleanse the body. Green tea and cloves, I just threw cloves in our dinner tonight. I just need cloves. That's the pure sign the cold weather's coming.
Hmm.
Because cloves, right?
Heat
It's
up.
such a
They heat
great
up.
immune booster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Cinnamon, right? These are all
Hmm.
natural things we can be taking into our body that help. So, you know, cutting out like the top um, aging accelerators in food are the processed packaged dead,
Hmm.
nothing in them, right? They're garbage in, garbage out, and
Like
they
Fruit Loops
create. Yeah,
and
they're high sugar. Anything high
wheat
sugar.
thins, wheat thins.
Yeah, high
Yeah.
sugar. So if we took out gluten, we were really aware of what kind of dairy, that it was clean, it was good.
Well, what if we don't
Whether
have a
it's
problem with gluten?
well, wheat is a
Wheat in
challenging one
moderate. What about
in
meat? Wheat in
moderation.
moderation.
But you want the clean stuff. You want like Ezekiel. You want sourdough. You want
Ezekiel is the
spelt.
worst tasting bread on the planet.
Yeah, I know. But
So
go for sprouted grains, go for rye, go for, kind of the one
sourdough.
grain. That's what I just said.
Oh, I
Sourdough.
didn't hear you.
You didn't hear me.
I was
Yeah.
so incensed by the Ezekiel recommendation.
I know.
Colleen
Sourdough.
just threw out a loaf of it. So
I know sourdough is, but even like keep the grains low. That's key. Keep the grains low. The processed sugars, just avoid them. Get your plant proteins in, and fermented foods. Like that's so important. We're not eating enough fermented foods like kimchi, sauerkraut. Do your pickled things. Learn to pickle.
vinegars.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
those are a complete, like they're really good. They're your postbiotic foods. So it's like we have prebiotics, postbiotics, probiotics, like, but we can get all that in the food. Like a prebiotic is fiber. So if we eat fibers, like, some people use hemp parts or chia seeds or psyllium husk, for fiber, vegetables. It's good stuff.
And
Getting your
also,
fermented.
another one under the stress is unhealthy habits, smoking and
Smoking,
alcohol,
too much
excessive alcohol.
alcohol,
Yeah.
too much caffeine. Yep. Yep. And even
And
rest in your belly for a little bit, right? Just
intermittent fasting type thing, or at least waiting
intermittent
8 to 12 hours before you eat. So not snacking too much to
Yep.
give your digestion a break.
Yep. Brush your teeth. Brush your teeth after you're done supper. Try and get your food, try and get at least 12 hours from the last time you ate to the next time. A lot of people in our age group, they can go 16 hours and then eat in that 8 hour period, or do like a 5 day where you eat normal and 1 day or 2 days where you're, liquid, or, just kind of change it up. See what works for you. Keep it light some days.
I just like I
Sometimes
just think we're on this planet that has gravity, and gravity is amazing for a lot of things, but it also is very hard on the body, and so that's where we're saying give the digestion a break, because it needs a little bit of a rest sometime. It works so hard on not
Yeah.
just digesting food, but clearing out diseases and lymphatic, all the stuff that it's constantly got millions of processes that it's doing. And so
Yeah.
to take a break from eating for a while. So it's just really changing your mindset and educating yourself about these things, listening to, I like the Huberman. I will put his name on. He's a Stanford doctor, and he talks a lot about health and
Yeah.
wellness. So educating yourself that way. I mean, Eddie and I
Mhm.
talk. You can listen to past podcasts. We've got one that we did similar to this topic, but we didn't focus on
Major
the
agers.
major agers, which I love that. That's very cool because
Yeah. Yeah.
sometimes
So,
I think it is good to learn, like you're saying, about all the stuff we can do and the things we can change. But sometimes
hmm
we're actually, as humans, we are more motivated by the avoidance of pain. So
hmm
sometimes it's really good to focus on what are the major agers, so that I know I'll avoid those, and then you make automatically better choices that way.
well, it's funny because I had listed the what accelerates aging, because I had a feeling you were going to go like, what are the ones that age, right? So of course it was stress, right? The major ager.
Mm-hmm.
It's because it affects cortisol. That's our fight or flight, and we talked about, right, the sympathetic nervous system. But here they go. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Poor diet, smoking, alcohol, sugar, poor sleep habits, poor bowel habits, bathroom habits, little movement, little exercise, no self time, too much thinking, a lot of negativity, too much exercise, not meditating enough, not having enough connection, emotional chaos, sun damage, no nutrient rich diet, mitochondrial damage, toxins in and on the body, blood work that keeps going higher and higher and higher, and we're not doing anything about it, infections and genes.
Wow.
Yep. That's not the top three. That's the top bunch
Yeah,
in
top bunch.
summary.
That's
And
almost
every
awesome
cell,
though, because I think we talked about every single one of those.
we did. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And every cell in our body has to replace itself. There's
Mm-hmm.
trillions of them.
Yeah. Yeah, we
That's a
talked
lot.
about this on one podcast before, which is like every single cell in your body is new. Like your skin is all new, your nails are all new, your hair is all new, your eyeballs, your blood, your bones even are completely different. I think it takes 7 months or 7 years. I can't remember, but there is like the bones take longer to regenerate. But and so every single one of those is constantly regenerating, some faster than others, right?
Mm-hmm.
So why is it then we have disease and aging, Dr. Eddie?
Because we're not addressing the dysfunction at the very start.
Cellular level. Yeah.
That's what I feel. And that's what a lot of colleagues that I listen to feel, or those that I know, that if we address it, not cover it up, that will slow the aging process down. If we get the right nutrients, the right, supplements, substituting for what the cell is not getting, we can actually, slow the wear and tear of the body, the mind, the joints, the tissues. We can slow it. We just got to know where it's slowing, right? Because some people are aging, they're 80 years old, and my goodness gracious, they are on maybe one medication or no medications, supplements, definitely supplements. And they're eating well, they're walking, they have great friends. Like, the common blue zones have the same stuff. And we talked about that on another podcast, what centenarians had in common. And it comes, it boils down to the quality of life, really. Like,
so that's what I was thinking. It is the quality of life. I don't care about slowing down aging at all. I care about the quality of life, but other people do want to, they want to use that language, and that's totally fine. But what we are talking about is your quality of life as you, for all your, every age, but especially as we get older, it becomes, like an old car or an old house. It's a little more finicky. Got to be a little more delicate and tender with it. Our bodies are the same.
If your feet are changing and boy, your shoes don't feel the same anymore, we change our shoes, but we get something done to our shoes. We put an insert in. We don't wear the heel anymore. We have a certain heel now we're more comfortable in. Like, everything spreads out and shrinks. It seems like we rust and shrink, but we can slow it down.
We're rusting and shrinking, Dr. Eddie. We're rusting and shrinking.
But you know what? An old car can be driven a long time. If it's, tended to. It's taken care of. And, it has a carport. and the right gas is going in it. And it's not ridden hard, right? It's like you drive it gentle and you tend to it. And if something's not sounding right, have it addressed. Our vision is going to change. Our hearing is going to change. And people resist certain things. They might need new glasses. They might need a hearing aid. They might need to wear a different shoe. They might not be able to play the sports at the level they could. And that's okay. Because I even found I want to play pickleball every day. But my body, after I've done that now for some months, my body's like, no, every day is not going to work for you. And I'm going to listen to my body. So that's why I'll pick up swimming or do a nice gentle walk and have a hill sometimes. Like, we need to listen and deal with the dysfunction before there's a disease presentation. At least that's what we try. And if there's a disease present already, then people will say, well, can I go back and fix stuff? Of course we can. What's your lifestyle? Are you willing to look at it? Are you willing to let go of certain foods that you like, or alcohol, or smoking habits, or, there's sometimes major lifestyle things, letting go of some of that sugar and sometimes we don't even know. People go, well, I didn't know it was carbs broke down into sugar, and that white potatoes are sugar. What? I thought they were a vegetable. It's like,
well, white potatoes are good if they're eaten with other foods. They're really good. They're a good source of potassium, and they are very good. They're just not great eaten on its own. It's not a full meal. It's a vegetable with other vegetables.
That's right. And you want to, if you have got a meal, like, you want to have your vegetable first so that you don't get that glucose spike at the end with the potato. So your protein in the middle are like your fish or plant protein. Yeah, there it is in a nutshell.
There it is, all in one little podcast. The
no
major
more
agers.
No more inflammaging, or let's prevent the inflammaging.
You're so good at that stuff. Oh, I love ya. I love you. Thanks, Ed. That was awesome.
Until next time.